Good day, everyone. My name is Dr. Anthony Aiwonegbe. I want to do an intro to CHM 499. We are all aware, for those in the University of Benin, especially chemistry department, that CHM 499 is final year project. This course, as it were, is very crucial. Crucial in the sense that it carries 6 credits, and for every serious student, a 6-credit course is not what you want to joke with. So that is why I took out time to put this together, so that the background to at least making a very strong point, making an A especially, you will have them at your fingertips. The first point is meeting with your supervisor. You know, the way the school is structured, we have a list of students assigned to supervisors, and it's just displayed. Most times, some students wait until their supervisors begin to look for them. That is a very bad start. You are to look for your supervisor and not the other way around. You ensure that right from the very first day you get the notice that you have been assigned a supervisor. Either you go as a group or as an individual, although it's better to go as a group anyway. But if you cannot locate everybody, don't wait until you're able to get, if you are about maybe 5 students assigned to a particular supervisor, you don't need to wait until you have all the 5 complete, but you reach out to them and then you just move. Let it now be that you have gone to look for your supervisor and maybe he or she is not around, and then you are not giving an appointment. It will be very wrong, as I said earlier, if it's the supervisor that is now looking for you. That's a first impression that you don't want to ruin. That's, by the way, and that's the first point. As I said, I have mentioned earlier that if one gets an A in this course, that means you have 30 points, because generally for the grading system that we have, A, B, C, D, and E, and A is 5 points, B is 4 points, C is 3 points, D is 2 points, and E is 1 point. Of course, there's no point for an F, and I don't think anybody will be hoping to get an F in a project. I've never heard that, except the student did not actually do anything and then is asked to repeat the project. So we always encourage students to aim for an A in the CHM 499, because A is 5, and when you multiply 6 by 5, you have that 30 points. Now, how does the A come about? There are 3 components of the CHM 499. You have the supervisor component, you have the seminar component, and then you have the external supervisor, external examiners component. Each of these is apportioned about 33%. All right, that the 3 of them put together actually brings up gives us the 100% for the 3 CHM 499. Your supervisor will score you. The supervisor scores, of course, over 100. For instance, based on your performance and your relationship with your supervisor and how active you were, depending on how the assessment is done, you can get, for instance, a 70, 65, 75, or sometimes even 80 from your supervisor. That will eventually amount to just 33%. Then you will have a seminar presentation wherein you will sit before a panel of lecturers. Most of the time, your supervisor is not involved in that case, but if he or she is there, he's not allowed to score. So they will score you again, and the scores are now put together, and an average is taken, and you get something from there. So, having said that, how does the A eventually come out? What I mean by that is, what makes a student to score an A, or what are the components of the final A that a student gets at the end of the project? There are three components. You have the supervisor component, you have the seminar component, and then you have the external supervisor or external examiners component. And I think I mentioned earlier that each of these has 33% apportioned. So if, for instance, your supervisor scores you 70 or 75, that's an A. But that does not automatically mean that you're going to get an A in the project. To get an A in the project means that you will still maintain that 70 or 75 during the seminar, and do same when you face the external examiner. Because these three are going to be put together and an average will be done. And if the average, that is adding the supervisor's score, the seminar score, and the external supervisor's score, if everything now added together divided by 3, if you get above 70 and above, then that is how you eventually get an A. So what that means is that just the same seriousness, the amount of seriousness you give to the interaction, the assignments given to you directly by a supervisor, just the same way you take them seriously, that's how you should take the seminar serious. Unfortunately, most students just feel that seminar is about just coming to make a show. The same the same level of importance should be attached to the seminar as much as every other component. So the seminar itself, there are a few tricks that I feel, I call them tricks, but they are just points that I feel that students should have at their fingertips. One, dressing is very important. Good dressing. Somebody will say, what is good dressing? Is it formal dress, English dressing? I've had to explain that at several fora, that in Nigeria, if you wear a kaftan and you put a hat on top, our normal hat, that's formal, provided it's complete with a cap. So when we say formal dressing, it doesn't necessarily have to do with a tie, shirt, and then a jacket on top. But if you do that, it's also allowed, and it carries a very high percentage in terms of the scoring. So dressing is, in short, you make a very high impression when you come out with a good dressing. So so that we do not start having ambiguity as to what to wear. Since most of the time we always, when we mention the formal dressing, people talk about the coat, tie, and all that. It will not be bad if you just stick to that for uniformity and without ambiguity. But if you must put a tie, if you must wear a tie, you should put a jacket on top. That makes the dressing complete. Dressing with a tie, shirt, and just trousers, it's considered as incomplete without the jacket. So there should be a jacket on top for that to be taken as full dressing. Then there is the presentation. There is presentation. That's the ability to showcase properly with confidence what you have done in the project. And in summary, what I tell students to do is tell us what you did, how you did it, and what you got. Summarize that. Sometimes you are not giving more than 10 minutes to do that summary because of the number. If you are lucky enough, you might get up to 15 minutes. So compressing a whole one session or one semester work, as project into that 15 minutes. You know that you need tact to be able to do that. So once you mount the stage, you do your normal protocols, greet your lecturers and greet them properly. Don't greet casually, calmly also. Then you go straight to introduction and say, discuss or describe what you did, and then give a justification towards the end why you are doing the project. That should be emphasized, the justification for what you are doing. I haven't said so many things about if you are, for instance, dealing with a plant, and you are trying to get out, you did extract secondary metabolites from the plant, and then you are now applying the plant to, for some other activities also. You should be able to tell us why you are doing that. Are you the first to do that? You might not be the first to have done that, but what are you bringing in? What is new about this your work? That justification must come, and come strong at the end of your introduction. And this may just be the first 1-2 minutes of your work. Then you tell us about your methodology. Methodology does not involve telling the whole long story. If there are standard methods, you refer to them, and then it is at this point you are able to convince those who are scoring you that you did the work, not that you just drop it at the lab and then you came to collect results. But there are some specialized, should I say specialized? There are some experiments that, because of the nature of the equipment, you may not be allowed to use them. That is understandable. But even then, at least you should know the operational principle of such equipment. For instance, if you had to use an AAS machine, although we have in the department, you have to use it outside the department. Even in the department, they may not allow you to operate it directly. You can ask questions about the operational principles and then read it up, which is simply based on the Beer-Lambert's law, and has to do with light and absorption of light, and how that is quantified in terms of the quantity of absorbing species in a particular solution in relation to the absorbance of the particular wavelength of light. So you should be able to show to the examiner that you know, or you did what you said you did, and proving that is very important. Having done that, you should also be able to answer questions. You may not be able to prepare for all the questions in the whole world concerning your area, but you don't also expect, or no examiner is expecting you to also know, so much. But sometimes the unexpected happens, that I haven't talked about some bogus chemistry language and experiments and all that, and the student just asks, what is pH? And you now see some drama taking place. Okay, you said you dealt with alkaloids. What are alkaloids? Give me an example of an alkaloid. Okay, you did water analysis, microbial analysis. Okay, what is BOD? What is between BOD and the COD? How did you do that? Questions like that may just be basic questions. You did titration. You determine the nitrogen and all that. What is back titration? Why is it called back titration? Somebody talked about green synthesis the other day, and I asked, what makes the synthesis green? Is it that it has a color? And all of that. So those basic things about your project, you should have them at your fingertips, because most examiners, or those who are scoring during seminar, may just want to find out, does this student know basic chemistry? Because sometimes you might even be asked to go and draw the structure of benzene or cyclohexane that you said you use for extraction. Draw it on the board, and sometimes we see negative surprises. So you should know basics chemistry and then know your work, right? That is very important. So that's all about the seminar.